Fred, this is episode 4.
4.
What are we talking about today?
We were talking about winter maintenance.
All right, let's go. All right, winter maintenance, stand by in 3, 2.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of our Behind the Wheel here. It's episode number 4. All right, we're really racking them up here, Craig.
Yes, sir.
So, and for those, it's Wednesday, January, whatever it is, 17th. It's freaking cold out there. So, for some of y'all, it's too late. But as we get into the winter months, and we're already into them, and as it's supposed to be cold for the next week. So, real cold. I mean, it's like tundra cold out there. It's like way too cold for Fred. So, give you some little tips on what to look for and how to prevent some problems that you have through some of this harsh weather that we're going through, whether it's snow, ice, or just basic cold. We'll start with the obvious. Antifreeze. That's the first thing anybody thinks of when it gets this cold. Is my engine block going to freeze up? Am I going to have a heating problem? I mean, because it is going to take a little longer for your heater to warm up a little bit. You know, you let your car warm up a little bit, and what usually it takes about maybe 5-10 minutes is going to take you 15-20 minutes, and for some of you, none at all. So that's why you have to see me. But we have our antifreeze here. Doesn't look like a brand name or anything, but it is made by a brand name, but a whole lot cheaper, and it's the same exact antifreeze. So don't get fooled by all the commercials of like the Xerox and the whatever else there is. You're basically getting the same antifreeze. I would never sell you a bad quality antifreeze or anything like that. We get this here. It's extended life, so it's pre-diluted. It's already mixed 50-50 because you do not want to have straight antifreeze in your car. More is not better in the case of antifreeze. If you put a bottle of straight antifreeze outside when it gets this cold or even colder, you're going to have a lime green slushy out there. And do not eat it. Trust me. So this is 50-50, ready to use. We top it off or we do the flushes, whatever you want to do. This has protection up to minus 50. So, which is a lot more than I think we need. A lot of standard antifreezes are minus 34. If you get down to minus 34 or minus 50, you're not going out anyway. So, no. So, so we're not recommending. Just get the flush done. We're not recommending going out and getting frozen. It's not worth it. Another thing that obvious things we see a lot of once the weather gets down is batteries. So we have the. You get your battery test. It takes less than 5 minutes. You stop by, you ask me to do it. If my guys are in a good mood, we'll do it. No, we'll do it.
Some of the time.
No, you stop by. We're all about customer service. So you stop by, we'll test your battery, make sure it's good. Less than 50%. If we test it and the battery says the state of life is less than 50%, it's going to be time to get that battery really considered to be replaced. 50% doesn't mean that it's still good for another. Say you've had it for 4 years, it's not going to be good for another 4 years because you only used half. Once it gets to a certain level, the amount of life that's left in there will deteriorate rapidly, and especially in this cold. I heard a report from AAA today that when it gets this cold and you try to start your car, it takes 35% more than it usually does when you start your car. 35% more draw. So that really puts a whoop into your battery. So stop by, get it checked. Like I said, we check it for free. It's a AAA thing. That's number 2. Number 3.
Is that when my truck hesitates sometimes when it's time
Yes.
to start?
Yes. Everything is really cold right now. So like your oil's cold, the coolant is cold, everything's cold. Power steering, brake, everything is cold. So everything's got to work that much harder. But for the immediate starting, all the engine oil is cold and thick, and until it warms up and starts pushing through, it's going to be a little bit restrictive. So that's probably why you're feeling that a little delayed. But don't be alarmed.
Warm your car up? How long should you warm, or should you warm your car?
Well, they say you shouldn't warm your car up. I've heard conflicting reports. I warm my car up, and I've never had a problem my whole life. In fact, that defeats the purpose of having a remote starter. So let your car, if you need to, let your car warm up. Don't let the Don't let the Greenpeace people get on your nerves.
I think I warmed up for 45 minutes today.
Yeah, it takes a while. Like I said, I was telling somebody today because they were late for their appointment and they were up. I said, that's okay. We understand what you're up against. He said, I let my car warm up for like half an hour, 45 minutes. I still had to scrape it. So I said, yeah, that happens in this kind of cold. So, which leads me to my next thing before I get on the belts. This is an ice scraper. Really. You can see it's a brush, ice scraper. Carry one. These are not ice scrapers. A lot of people, they hop in their car, hit their washer fluid, try to get that ice or frost off, and then they turn the wipers on. If they do move, all they do is tear them up. The ice is like it's sandpaper, and it's just going to go and wear off the... I got the protective thing on here. So, yeah, it's just going to tear the rubber, or in this case, this is a nitrile. It's just going to tear up the rubber, and you're going to need wiper blades, even if you put them on yesterday. It's just not good. Get out there, scrape your car, do the work. So, like I said, we carry all lines of wiper blades. These are less inexpensive blades. These are, we call them bougie blades. But these are more designed. It's a beam blade. You see them on most of the cars nowadays. These are better for the winter because you don't get the ice stuck in all the mechanisms here. And then when they don't flex and stuff, they won't clear as well. In this case, the ice doesn't get in here and it holds tight to the window, keeps everything clear. But again, don't use it. It does not scrape ice. So,
is it a good idea to, when you know a storm is coming, to put your blades up?
I see a lot of people do that. I'm not a fan of that. I'm really not sure what the reasoning for that is. Some people say they don't want their wiper blades to stick to the window when they come out and they turn them on. But turn them off when you get out of the car. It's simple. But well, I see people do it. I've also had customers come in with that, do that. And when they come and the blade slips out of their hand when it's windshield's this cold and you got the hot blowing on from the defroster, it'll hit it, crack it. Yeah, I've seen it happen. If you have your opinions on doing that, go ahead. I'll replace your windshield later. But I don't see the reasoning in it, but that's also my personal opinion. So yeah, you don't want this thing smacking down and hitting your windshield and causing you a $500-600 job. So, but I passed a bunch of people on the way here. Seeing went to wiper blades up, looked like bull horns. So again, and then also this is washer fluid, blue washer fluid. There's many different brands. Rain-X has one that's really expensive. It's orange. It's thick. It cleans the window, but it's a lot more money, and it does the same job. And then with Rain-X, and I used to be a big fan of Rain-X, the regular Rain-X, not the Rain-X washer fluid. It leaves a film over time, and that's its job, to leave a film over time so stuff doesn't stick to it. But this cleans. You got to make sure that it's at least -20 below rated. I've seen some people with 0 rated, and it'll freeze up in there too. You get a blue slushy that you can't eat because it tastes nasty. We tried. So, but yeah, this does not cut ice. It's not a de-icer. Yeah, keep this full. Yeah, because you get a lot of road salt. I probably hit my washers probably half a dozen times coming from Fairless Hills over to here, in my 20-minute ride, because there's a lot of road salt out there. So, yeah, you want to keep that full, want to keep it, make sure don't cut it. I've seen guys try to, we just add water to it. Yeah, water's not, it's just going to freeze. And what happens there is if you fill this with water and that, it gets this cold, the ice, it expands, cracks the plastic bottle. Then I just replaced a bottle the other day for somebody that did that. It was $600. Not saying everybody's is, but that one was. So, yeah. So just do what you're supposed to. Just put this stuff in there. It'll save you a world of hurt. Tires. Tires is another big thing. A lot of times when probably 90% of people riding around right now have their tire pressure monitor light on. It looks like a little horseshoe with an exclamation point in the middle. When it gets this cold, it depends on the tire and exactly where you're at. But on average, for every 10 degrees that it goes down from your normal at where you topped it off last time, you will lose 6 psi, pounds per square inch. So say you topped the car off at, it was 50 degrees out and you put 35 pounds in there. the day like today, you were down to what, 17? So you can lose 15 to 18 pounds just in that. It didn't go anywhere. It just contracted enough. So once you get going again, it'll pick up some because the heat will build the pressure back up. But you can stop by and we'll top off your tires and make sure your light's out. So we have the tire pressure gauge. If you want to do this, keep it yourself. A lot of people just it's on their, like on my truck, they have the PSI reading right on the dash, so you can look at it and say, that one's got 24. It should have 32. Whatever. I could better stop by Fletcher's and get some air. So, but you can keep one of these for yourself if you have an older car that doesn't have that. And again, it'll save you a lot of trouble. And
question:
what you got?
So if it gets cold and your pressure goes down and you top it off, if it gets warmer outside, what happens? It'll
expand again, but you won't have to. Yeah, if you top it off, you can put it right where it's supposed to be right now. Say it's 35, put it at 35. Chances are it'll stabilize over time. But again, you don't want to do that in the summer. Like I see some people put their tires at the max. The car calls for 36, they'll put 44 in because the tire says on there max inflation 44 psi. Wrong, because once you get driving, say you topped it off at 70 and it went up to 90, it can go up that proportionately. So you could have 15, 18 extra pounds in there, 12, 15, 18 extra pounds.
Tire explode?
They can. Some people do. So you constantly monitor it. That's why they came up with the tire pressure monitor system. It's more of a pain of a butt for some of these people, some people, but it is there for a reason, and it's not a bad thing. Usually we know when we have a flat tire, but in these cases, and as people are starting, younger people are starting to get their licenses, they're not, starting to drive, they're not checking the way they used to because they're relying on the tire pressure monitor. But you should get one of these. And then also another thing you could do, and I'm not saying you have to get one of these, but you want to check your tire depth. There's my handy GT Radial. Here you go, Jen. GT Radial tire depth gauge. We recommend replacing the tires when they get to 430 seconds. The legal limit in Pennsylvania is 230 seconds across two treads, which is very, very thin. 430 seconds we start recommending tires, but that's the end of that. Yeah, we'll get that later.
That's how cold
but it's cold out. I can't feel it. But usually a tire reading about 6 to 8 is good enough for this weather here. New tires run, depending on the brand and the tread that you get, 12, 13, which is like new. But if you get around 6 or 8, you're okay.
What about the head of the penny thing there?
The inflation went up to a quarter. But bump.
I can't afford to check my tires anymore.
Yeah, they say you can still use the penny thing. They say, well, you can't use it anymore because you got tire depth gauges. What? Physics is physics. Right. The top of Lincoln's head's the top of Lincoln's head on the penny. So figure that. But so you can use that. If you can't see the top of Lincoln's head, it's time for a tire. So because you're down under 430 seconds. And then another thing we see a lot of, it's been less and less over the years, is belts, fan belts and serpentine belts, which is pretty much, this is a serpentine belt. For effect, this is how big a lot of them are. So this is off a Dodge Ram. So what this does is this runs everything. Your alternator runs off here, your water pump runs off here, power steering, if you have it, unless it's electric. Your air compressor for your air conditioning, everything runs off of this. So if you lose this, you lose everything. You don't lose just one or the other. Like the old days when you used to get these, the regular V belts. This maybe just ran the alternator or this ran the water pump or something like that. And if this one of these broke, then you still had something, but it gave you some kind of warning. These do not. So what you want to look at is when. What you really want to do is bring it over to me, and I'll take a look at it. But if you don't want to come over to me, and I understand that, when you look at your belt, look for horizontal cracks. These have ribs in them. If you start seeing horizontal cracks and you see like 3 per square inch or it's really looking like a turtle shell, or like chunks are missing out of it, it's time for a belt. So, and same as these old V belts. This one's got little notches. Not all of them have little notches in them, little ribs. But you'll see horizontal cracks going to the leading up to this. Yep, there's a tread here, a stabilizing tread in here. So it'll see horizontal cracks. That's mean it's time to get a belt, because it's cold, and when it gets cold, it's going to get stiff. That's going to be amplified, and it's going to you get some load on that, you're going to lose it. So there's just a lot of little things you can do. Some extra things you can do. Put an emergency kit in your car if you do a lot of traveling. You know, I have like a 1 mile ride to work and back, so I don't really worry about that too much. But you can put a blanket in there, a fold-up shovel, bottle of water. Hopefully it doesn't freeze. You know, just keep some things. A blanket, bottle of water. You don't have to get this. This is an expensive jump box. You can go to Harbor Freight. This is a battery jump box. If your battery's dead and you just want to get out of Dodge real quick, just you know, you can pick one of these up at Harbor Freight for like less than $50. Throw it in the back. Make sure it's charged up. Yeah, you just hit it, and there's all different styles. This is our professional style here. Like I said, you don't want to buy this one. It's almost $1,000, but we use it all day long. In fact, my guys are probably missing this right now. So, but yeah, you can hook this up. Gives you a boost, get you started, get you out of where you know trouble, and get you over to Fletcher's garage where you can get it tested properly and maybe get a battery. So, but yeah, you can keep that in the car. It won't go bad. Yes, yeah, just little things like that. A Snickers bar. Keep a Snickers bar in there. Or
that's what I love.
Oh yeah.
Those people who drive with 3 inches of snow on the top of their vehicles.
Wrong. And I'll admit I was guilty of it for a long, long time. That stuff freezes. Like today, if you had like 2-3 inches of snow from yesterday's snow, and then it skinned over with the ice, you know, you get going down the road 40-50, it blows off. It comes off in one big like 3-foot sheet. I've seen a couple of tractor trailers, and you know it's hard for them to clear them, but they need to do a better job. Some of them I see some coming off of trailers where they actually can bust through windshields, and they can cause a lot of damage. So clear your car. You know, you can extend this. You know, buy one of these ice scrapers, extend it. Like I can go all the way across my truck with this, even on the roof. I have to reach because I'm short. But yeah, you just get on top, pull the snow off as it's coming down. Don't let it get to the ice part because you don't want to use a scraper on your paint. I actually had a customer come in today. He's like, "Yeah, I was cleaning my car. I couldn't find my scraper, so I used a shovel." Let's see. All right, well, here's the number of WW Auto Body because you'll be needing them in the springtime. Yeah, you know, even the plastic, the ice will scratch your paint. So you put a shovel on top of that, and then it just makes it 10 times worse. So, yeah, if you have any questions, you can always give us a call over Fletcher's Garage at 215-295-4931. I put tips on my Facebook page, too, so you can see the Fletcher's Garage Facebook page or Fred Fletcher Facebook page. You could check out. I always put tips out there on what to look for as silly things pop in my head. I always try to put out tips especially for the winter. Because there's a lot more going on than in the summertime. The summer's got its own challenges, but the winter's got like 10 times more challenges. So you want to stay vigilant on that. And that's pretty much what I got. Like I said, if you have any questions, just contact me, no matter how you want to get to it, and I will get back to you. So have a nice day, and try to stay warm and stay running. Or stay frosty, my friends. What you doing? Oh.